It's been fun. The love here has been so cool.
It's been a few years since you've been here.
It has been, I think, maybe
5 or 6?
5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a blast the last time I was here. I showed my movie. I was right when I finished The Space Between, my first feature film. I had a screening. Did
that's
anybody
right.
come?
Yeah.
No. It was a good turnout, though. Yeah, we had so much fun.
So you have something else new going on right now.
Just the comic book.
Just this little comic book.
The return, for those of you who don't know, which I was very surprised at the table, there was a bunch of people who hadn't heard about it.
Yeah.
But it's with Boom Studios, and I wrote it with my boyfriend, Matt Hodson, who is a really cool writer. And it's 4 issues. Issue 4 comes out May 29th, and it's basically, what if the original Rangers had stayed together? Where would they be now? And then it's this like whole crazy drama that had happened 22 years ago on the moon. It's like, has anybody read it? Are you guys digging it? Yeah. So check it out if you read comic books, or even if you don't. It's kind of fun because it's sort of like my love letter to the franchise. Where I wasn't a part of the series that happened, whatever it was called, the 30th anniversary. I chose actually to do this instead. So this is my gesture for the
If anybody out here knows me, by the way, I'm Derek. Not that anybody cares, it's fine. I'm a giant comic book guy, and that's how like this whole thing went for me. So I gotta ask about the co-writing.
Yeah.
What was the process like? Because co-writing is completely different.
Yeah, because I write screenplays on my own, and Matt has written screenplays, and then his dream has always been to write comic books. And he is an avid comic book collector since he was about 9 years old. So it's been a very interesting process of really collaborating story-wise, and because we both bring very different perspectives. And I think that the main goal that we had was to try and write something that would appeal to fans of the book, of the show from when they were kids who are now adults. So I think hopefully we did it, but it tried to have the tone where it's still nostalgic from the show, but then a little bit, I don't want to say elevated, but mature for the reader who's like in their 30s. So I don't know if we did it, but that was sort of the goal. Anyway, back to collaborating. So right now we're trying to brainstorm the sequel. Yeah. It's not announced though. Boom has not said yes, but me and Matt are like, we want to keep going with this. And so, yes, writing with a partner can be very challenging. In a really good way, because we push each other to like, I'm like, no, it's not good enough. Or he goes in one direction, I'm like, no, or vice versa. So it's like we're sort of pushing each other.
Yeah.
And at some point you kind of have to let go.
So with you having like directorial experience and acting experience and all those other things, was it a fairly easy transition to go to panel layout versus storyboards, or did you find some limitations?
Definitely limitations for myself. I'm really good with story and breaking the story, and I think Matt is a lot better at, because he's been reading comic books since he was 9 years old, and I'm very new to the world, at like visualizing the storyboard, because it is different than a movie, because you do have to pick the actual right moment that would be captured in a drawing rather than moving pictures. So it's a bit different, and it was always super fun because Nico Leon, who's this really cool artist from Argentina who lives in Japan, was a massive fan as a kid, and so the Easter eggs that are built into the return are really cool. But for both me and Matt, we finally agree upon how it's going to be laid out and what's going to happen, and then it's sent off to Nico, and then the book comes back. And it's funny because it's always better than what we ever imagined. And for some reason, it's always flopped. And at one point, Matt was like, is it because he's in Japan right now? And he's like on the other side of the But it's better than we imagined it, but not exactly how we imagined it. It's cool. It's
So
fun.
you're giving them some leeway.
Of course.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think you have to.
Yeah, and I mean, if there are people out here who are not big comic fans, one of the biggest differences when you're looking at that script writing from film to the page is you now have to look at not just the page layout, but the page turns and where those breaks are, because it's
double spreads
it's an
and, like,
automatic pause, and you lead them back up on the page again, and it's a whole different experience.
Yeah, and to like keep it propulsive and wanting to turn the page, and it's really fun to sort of map that out and figure it out. I've loved it, and the fact that I have like two features right now that I'm trying to get off the ground that have producers and scripts that I've written and we're casting, but it's been 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, and with the comic book, it did take a while for everything to get into motion, but once it's in motion, it just flies. It just goes so fast, and so that has been really fulfilling for me this year, to have the comic book creatively as an outlet for myself has been like a really kind of like a blessing for me in a lot of ways, because I can get very frustrated that, I don't know, for anybody who knows, I stopped acting maybe almost 10 years ago, and I switched to writing and directing, where I found my true passion in directing and in writing. I've done 3 shorts, 2 features. I did an episode of Superman and Lois. Season 2, episode 6, Tried and True.
Wonderful show.
Yeah, it's a great show. And yeah, I'm writing features and doing some comic books, which is really fun. And I just finished my EP, which I'm figuring out when to release it. But I have 3 more songs that I just recorded this year.
That's awesome. Somebody asked me one time, they're not familiar with this world that we all live in. They're like, why do you bring celebrities to Comic-Cons? And I thought about it, and I'm like, realistically, actors, directors, people that are working in film and television, it's a collaborative process, the same as comics are. And so, were you able to kind of utilize some of that when it came to the whole comic creative process?
Oh yeah, especially I think my passion is directing, and one of the biggest things being a director is learning truly how to collaborate and let everybody do their job and bring to the table what they do best. And that's definitely the world of comic books, for sure. Like, if we were trying to micromanage Nico with how he was drawing his stuff, I mean, certainly we have vision and what we sort of like ideas that we want, but then to allow him to then take it to the next level is like, has been really cool. Even with the coloring and all the different aspects, it's definitely a collaboration.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, we are going to open it up to questions. Just remember, guys, 1 question each, and let's get the first one up.
How you doing, Ed?
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. My question is for Karen Ashley. She said years ago that you're just like an old friend. Y'all can go years apart, and y'all get together. It's just like I've never lost time together. Y'all always talking, always bubbling, always just seeing the light in you. That's the way she was describing you. Now my question is, what are your memories of you with Karen Ashley on the set and after?
I'm gonna ask somebody to turn the microphone on, but I did hear you. He asked me what my experience was like with Karen Ashley, and from my memory of Karen Ashley, it's like what I remember most is Australia and going to shoot the movie, because they had just gotten their parts on the show, and so we were all just getting to know each other when we went to Australia for 6 months and like lived in a hotel for half a year, and we had such a blast. We had so much fun. We were right on the beach in Sydney, and yeah, I had a blast with Karen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
My question is about Flashpoint, actually. I really liked that series as it was coming out, and I think what really kind of drew me to it was the goal of the team was always to de-escalate any situation, whatever it may have been.
Yeah.
So my question for you is, what do you think of the importance of how law enforcement is depicted in media and how we consume that? So I thought Flashpoint was something that was very different than what is out there.
Yeah, you know what? That was one really, I think, special thing about the show, which if anybody doesn't know, it was called Flashpoint. It was a Canadian cop drama where we were sort of like special forces. We were the SRU, which is
Similar to
SWAT
SWAT.
team. We were the SWAT team. And we would come into situations, and they really took the stories of people at their breaking point, at their flashpoint, at the point where they, you know, are like crossing the line of like being, you know, people who are, anyway, you get what I'm saying. And I thought that was so cool with the stories that you would get from that, because they're so human, and it's about talking people down, and that we're all humans, just kind of trying to be okay for the most part. And I really love that about the show. And it was different than a lot of cop shows that are come at it from a different angle. Yeah, it was a good show. The writers are now doing another show with Rico. I don't know if anybody, it's in Canada, I don't know if it's in the States.
Or by Wednesday, we probably get it.
Yeah, I don't know what channel it's on, but look it up, because I don't remember the name of it. But I know Rico's so happy to be on another show with the same people who created Flashpoint, so I'm sure it has the heart of Flashpoint, but I just don't know the name of the show. I'm so sorry, guys.
It was
Look up
amazing
Rico
show.
Coliccioni on IMDb, and you'll find it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
You do so much. You direct, you act, you sing, you write. You kind of answered it maybe. Which one is your favorite? And do you think you'll be acting again anytime soon, please?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be acting again. I would if the right role came around and the right opportunity presented itself and it seemed to feel good, then I would do it. I stopped acting for a lot of different reasons. One is I didn't really feel like growing old on camera. And then as soon, I know.
Have you seen yourself?
Yeah.
You guys are so sweet. That's not the full reason. I just didn't want that. One of the reasons why I left Los Angeles and moved my life to Canada. I just wanted to I don't do Botox. I don't do any of that stuff. I just want to grow old while I'm directing. Because then I went and did my first short film, and I was like, oh my God, this is what I've been missing my entire career, is creating and writing and directing. When I'm on the set directing is my happy place. But now music has always been kind of like a cathartic outlet for me, a creative outlet. So I keep it close. And you should see my house. I just rotate around from my piano, then to my kitchen where I write. My entire kitchen is now a paint studio. So I started painting, and I don't know, I'm just always just trying, I wouldn't say I'm great at anything, I just like to do a lot of things.
Awesome. Thank you.
If that makes any sense.
I asked this question to Johnny, but which movie did you enjoy being a part of? Which Power Rangers movie?
Oh,
The most, yeah.
the most. I mean, I could say something about each one of them, but honestly, the last little cameo I did with my pal JDF was one of the most special moments for me, because I hadn't seen him in years, and we reconnected doing that. I don't know if you guys know the story of how I even got that cameo. I called the production office when they were shooting. It was my manager at the time's idea, because I was telling my manager in LA, and she kept calling the production, and they were like, no, we're not having any originals, and I'm like, does the director know that? Is anybody So we literally called the production office and was like, Amy Jo's totally up for a cameo if you guys would want to do that. And they were like, yeah, well, that's such a cool idea, for sure. And then Jason called, and they had reached out to Jason, and they flew us out. And I remember flying out and taking a picture out the window and posting on my Instagram, heading to Vancouver, and all of a sudden Warner Brothers is was it Lionsgate or Warner Brothers? I think it was Lionsgate. Yeah, Lionsgate was contacting my manager, telling me, Joe, to take that photo down. I'm like, nobody knows I'm going to Vancouver to shoot Power Rangers. Anyway, I was. And then I got to spend 2 to 3 days with Jason, just hanging out with him and going to set, and it was just really special time. It was a really nice reconnection with him. It was pretty cool. Actually, just a really quick funny story. We had, the first night we were having dinner, we were sitting there, and somebody came up and was like, "Hi, oh my God, can I get a photo with you?" And they were looking at me, and I was like, "Sure." And they're like, to Jason, they were like, "We can take a photo of us." They recognized me from Flashpoint. They didn't know Power Rangers. It was so classic. I was like, thanks, Jason. Anyway.
Thank you.
And that was around the time when he was doing My Morphin Life. Have you guys checked out My Morphin Life?
Yes.
I think that was one of the funniest little web series I've ever seen. You guys have to check it out. It's still up online. It's really funny. My favorite was when he was talking to the poop in the toilet. I forget what he was telling the poop, but he was just literally, makes me like laugh so hard. It's really funny. I don't remember the gist of the joke clearly. But it was really funny about him talking to something in the toilet. Anyway, okay.
Transition to the next question on that.
Hi, my name is Jason. We all love you for the Pink Ranger, obviously. But my buddy, Andrew Ford, has his first crush was you because of Suzy Q. So my question is just, how was it different working for the Mouse than it was for Power Rangers?
Well, it was still Power Rangers. Because, so when I asked to leave Power Rangers, when I was done with right before the movie, I was like, I went to the producers and I was like, I think I'm ready to move on. I've done like 150 episodes or however many I've done. And I was like, within 2 years, 3 years, and I was like, I think I'm ready. And he's like, will you come do the movie? And we also do this little movie called Suzy Q that it was Shuki Levy, and his wife had written. So I was like, sure. And they gave me this beautiful guitar. So my like exit from Power Rangers was just a lovely one. And so then I went to Vancouver and shot Suzy Q, which was a Saban Entertainment production, and then it was aired on the Disney Channel. So this is why on the Disney Channel now, nobody can find Suzy Q, because it wasn't a Disney production. But if you want to watch it, I actually have found an old DVD that's like beautiful. I think I got it in like 1998 or something anyway. It was like the copy I got from actually doing the movie, and I put it up on my website. So if you go to amyjohnson.com, listen, the person that comes to tell me to pull it down is the person that'll say, okay, so can now we release it? Because I don't know who owns it or where it is, and I don't think that person exists. So if you want to see the movie, it's free. Just go to my website and join my website, and it's in the toy box. The entire movie's up there.
I love the planning behind I'm going to release. Tell me to take it down. That is one of the most genius things.
So many people want it to be released or, just put out there. It's never been put out there. And not even in DVD or anything. There's like bad copies on the internet, but honestly, I think it's been lost in the shuffle.
I do have to follow up to that. You said that you got a guitar for Suzy Q. Have you, by any chance, kept little souvenirs maybe from any of the Power Rangers things or the projects that you've done, whether it be a prop, outfit, any of that stuff?
The only thing I have is my PowerPoint from the movie, from the big movie suits. I know JDF kept a bunch of stuff. I don't think Jenna does all that. I'm not sure. He was the only one. This is a funny story. I did have a boyfriend. On the show, he was an electrician, and he did get fired with the entire electrical team because after work one day they put on the Blue Ranger suit and they started running around the set. They got in trouble. They all got fired.
Go ahead.
Hi.
Thank you so much, by the way, just for all your inspiration and of course Olivia.
Oh, I love it.
Thank you.
This is Olivia from costume from The Return.
actually a kind of silly one. If Kimberly, what song would you choose to describe Kimberly?
Oh, out of like all the songs in the world?
Just the first one that pops into your head.
Even one of yours, she
You
said.
don't want to hear.
Oh. You know what, the only thing that pops into my head is Down the Road.
Right?
It was like the Power Rangers song. And I wrote that with Shuki,
I love it.
the producer. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
that was an easy answer.
Hi there.
Hi.
I was wondering, how do you want to remember Jason David Frank for the rest of your life?
How do I want to?
Yeah.
Oh, I will never forget him. I think he was one of the most charismatic, just balls of energy, wild. If he was a musician, he'd be a classic rock star, right? He was just like fearless, and yeah, I miss that guy a lot. I'm sure we all do.
Thank you.
Hi, I kind of wanted to tie back to your comment about hoping you were striking the right tone with The Return.
Yeah.
Working on like short films and feature films, how do you kind of emotionally deal with hoping that you kind of achieve what you were going for artistically with the story?
Oh, God, story of my life. Like right now, I'm writing a pitch for a TV show of a book that's they have a book. I read the book, and now I'm pitching the show that I would see it as. So then it's like trying. So I can see it in my head. Then it's trying to articulate what's in my head tone-wise through comps and through like just figuring out style of how it's shot, to the humor, to all that. And you know, I mean, I think that, you know, hopefully these 2 films that I have, they get up on off the ground and I get to go shoot them. And then it's just like, I think it's just trusting your gut. And if I overthink something too much, then, you know, it could, I think I naturally have a style. I know what I like to watch. Jean-Marc Vallée was like my most favorite filmmaker. He did Café de Flore, if you ever want to check it out. It is the most beautiful movie in the entire world. And then there's another really great movie that I love the tone of. It's called Captain Fantastic. Has anybody seen that? It's not a superhero movie, but it is like the most funniest, heartwarming, gut-wrenching film. So I think those and the David O. Russell movies kind of get me. It's like movies that take human experience that are painful and finding the levity within them and being able to laugh through the pain. I think is the thing that I like. I did a movie called Tammy's Always Dying. You can rent it, you can go watch it online. But basically that's about a woman who threatens to jump off a bridge once a month to keep her daughter tethered to the town that they live in. And so it's a dark comedy about a relationship between a mother and a daughter. And my friend Joanne actually wrote that film. But I think the thing I love about it so much is just taking like heavy subjects and then finding the funny that's somewhere in there. Because I mean, I don't know about you guys, but some of the like saddest moments of my life I got through because of laughter. I don't know. Right?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
So actually, I know Suzy Q was just brought up, and my darling wife actually dug up an old copy of hers, and she showed it to me in preparation for this weekend. And I can attest, it's a fun, silly movie, great way to kill a couple hours of time. Definitely needs to be on some kind of streaming service at this point. But do you have any fun stories of working on that movie?
Yes. Sorry, I have one terrible story that I won't share.
And now that's what we all want to hear.
No, you know what? Somebody tricked me from whatever. They told me I was smoking a joint, and it was not a joint. So that happened. Not cool. No, right? Anyway, but other than that, it was the first time I got to be like a lead of a movie. I have the time of my life. I loved every second of shooting that movie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we got our next one coming up. I'm curious, with all the different projects you've done, and all the cons you've done, and all the people you've met, do you get starstruck at all?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah?
I do. Like, I was in the elevator in Scotland with all the Charmed girls. And I was like, I'm in the elevator with all the Charmed girls. Or like when I met Molly Ringwald or was sitting in the same green room as her. I don't know, I get very starstruck.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Chris.
Oh, Ralph Macchio. Sorry.
So, I don't know if you know, you probably do, but there is now a Power Rangers tabletop role-playing game out. And how does that make you feel that there's now a way for people to become their own Power Rangers?
I had no idea. No.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's really cool. There's actually a whole mini-series of its like debut being played on YouTube. It's called Day of Destiny. It's really good.
Oh, wow.
But,
Is it kind of like I don't even understand what that means. Is it like Dungeons and Dragons kind of a thing?
yeah, it's like D&D but Power Rangers. So you get to play a
fun.
Power Ranger team.
And do you make up your own Rangers, or you
Yeah,
specifically?
you can. I think you can play a Canyon Ranger, but you get to make up your own Rangers and like build their personalities and like.
Wow, who created that?
Oh gosh, I don't remember the production company off the top of
Oh,
my
but it's an
head.
actual like.
It's an actual, hard copy of the manual and everything.
Wow.
So like, how does
That's
it make
cool.
you feel that people can now have a way to like be their own Power Ranger?
Oh, well, that makes me feel really great. That's pretty cool. The whole thing, I have to tell you guys, is a bit surreal. The fact that like my first job I ever had as an actor, that I'm sitting here today, and it's like been in people's hearts as they've grown up and like for so long, is very, one, it's a blessing in my life, hugely, and then two, it's like, who knew when I was 20 years old and I got my first gig and I'm wearing pink spandex on national television. And I'm showing the pilot to my group of friends and they're like, good one. See what happens next. To now, 30 years later, have it have the life that it's had is bizarre and super surreal and crazy. So that there's these role-playing games now just goes along into that, right? It's yeah.
Was there ever a point when you realized this thing is growing so fast and you're like, oh my God, this is part of our pop culture now, and that it's going to live on forever? Was there a point when you went, holy crap?
There was a point when we were doing the show and I realized it was very popular. I don't think I understood or anybody realized that 30 years later we'd be having this conversation. I think that was, for me, probably when I went to do my first short film about 12 years ago, and I went on Indiegogo and to raise money, and I suddenly realized the love and support that I had of all of these people who were children, now adults, that were helping me make my short film on like Indiegogo, and I did that 2 times, and then I did The Space Between, and it was through that, because I hadn't done Comic-Con yet, so I hadn't met you guys in person yet. It was just, I was suddenly like, oh wow, there's this love that like has followed my entire career all the way up to where I am now, And then it was then going to conventions and hearing people's story and, seeing the line that's out there right now. It's like, oh wow, people have their toys in their closet still. Like, it's crazy.
There's a lot of toys here with your picture on them too.
Yeah. It's I guess again, it's like a sort of a
Thank you so much.
a surreal kind of a thing.
Yeah. All right, we've got 5 minutes left, so we're gonna try and get through this in one more, hopefully.
I was just wondering about the methodology you use for co-writing the comic book. Did you each write a section, or did you both write entire copies and like compare and take what part was best, or did you work together?
Maybe we should do that for the sequel. And then put them online and do like a voting process. Which storyline should we go in? Because right now we're trying to figure out storylines, and it's ideas right now. But before, you know what, a lot of it was just email. We really realized, like, we write final draft, so it's like, do a pass, send it, do a pass, send it, do a pass. Like, the original kernel of the idea came from Olivia Hart, which was an idea I had for a TV series, for a live action, about Kimberly and Tommy's daughter. She's 21, you know, the moon, whatever had happened on the moon 22 years before, and she doesn't know who her parents are, and she was a 911 dispatcher, and it had this whole other thing going on. It was a very dark angel, Supergirl kind of a thing. But then when we switched it into being a comic book with the 30th anniversary coming up, we switched it all around to actually focus more on the original Rangers and what happened to them, and we watched all the shows together and figured out like the jumping off point where we would take it, you know, even with Rita and Zed of when they got married, it doesn't go beyond that for them. They were just together, and that was fun to collaborate on in that way. But then the writing process really was like, I do a pass, he does a pass, he does a pass, I do a pass, and that seems to be the best way to work. It's hard, it's challenging writing with another person, that's for sure.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hello. I have a question. As an actress, was there a movie that you would have loved to star in? Any blockbuster movie that you would have loved to be in to star?
There's a lot. My biggest dream when I was younger, I loved Julia Roberts. I actually have a song called Julia Roberts. If you go on my website, I have all my music up there. But I used to love her. So Notting Hill, I still love to watch, or any of those movies like that. Sure, yeah. One of the reasons why I ended up leaving Los Angeles and quitting acting was because I felt like I was on this train of wanting to get to a level of at what point can you just be satisfied? And I had to jump off the train in a lot of ways. It felt like the train was moving and it wasn't necessarily heading in a direction that I wanted. I don't know how to explain what I'm saying, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I could picture you in so many movies that you, the Core movie, how they had Harry Swank. I totally pictured you as the captain.
Oh, yeah. People say, that we have a similar thing. Jennifer Gardner as well. They sometimes say we have a similar thing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we can squeeze one last one in. So patiently waiting back there and cross his fingers.
Yeah, it's gonna be real quick. So as I was kind of sitting here, I was just like, well, one, I almost didn't come. I'm a terrible best friend. I'm skipping my best friend's wedding shower today. I promised my other best friend 6 months ago that would come. So, anyways, I'm sitting here thinking about just all the times watching Power Rangers, and I remembered my dad's kept me from watching Power Rangers for a month because I was too hyper as a kid. So I was always jumping, up and down. But you asked her a question about just kind of being starstruck. So I was wondering if there was ever a time where you had another celebrity that was starstruck by you, that kind of caught you off guard.
No, you know what? I don't know. Maybe a couple times. Oh, I know. And it was one of my it made me very happy when I was shooting Superman and Lois. It was all the way to the last day of shooting that Tyler, the Superman, was like, just so you know, I was a massive fan as a kid, and he was kind of looking out I was directing him and shooting it, and that was really flattering.
That's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, guys, before we wrap things up, just a reminder, Amy's down signing today and tomorrow. Yep. And so make sure you go down there and see her, thank her. On behalf of everybody here, thank you for everything you've done, the inspiration you brought everybody, and just coming to say hi.
For sure.
Thank you, guys.